All right, when you think about protecting your home from a wildfire, what comes to mind? Probably some sprinklers on the roof, right? But what if that system was, well, smart? What if it could think for itself, especially when everything else is failing around it? Today, we're diving into an invention that's basically an intelligent, totally self-sufficient guardian for your house. It completely rethinks the whole game of wildfire defense. Now, this is going to sound a little crazy, but it's true. It's not that anyone meant for them to be bad. Not at all. It's just that they have these catastrophic flaws built right into them. Flaws that only show up at the absolute worst possible moment. We're not talking about a simple bug here. This is a deep, fundamental problem with how they're designed from the ground up. So the big question is, why? Why do these things just give up the ghost when you need them most, when the fire is right there? Well, the answer is pretty simple, actually. It all comes down to a chain of things they depend on, a chain that's almost guaranteed to snap right when things get serious. Okay, and this table lays it all out perfectly. These are the fatal flaws. First, they totally depend on grid power. You know, the first thing the power company shuts off during a fire warning for safety. So boom, your sprinklers are useless. Then they need the internet, which, let's be honest, is the next thing to go in any emergency. On top of that, they're not smart. They just soak everything, which wastes a ton of water instead of hitting the actual threads. And maybe the scariest part? You have no way of knowing if water is actually flowing. You just hope. And usually there's just one switch or one app to turn it on. If that one thing fails, you're done. You've got absolutely nothing. So how do you fix that first, most glaring problem, the power issue? Simple. You cut the cord. The system's first brilliant move is that it's completely self-powered. It achieves total energy independence, which means it stays on even when the entire neighborhood goes dark. And here's how it pulls that off. Check it out. It's got its own solar panel right on the unit that's always trickle charging a 12-volt battery inside. Now, when the power grid's working, sure, it'll top itself up from a regular outlet. But the second the grid dies, it just seamlessly switches over to its own stored solar power. And what's really cool is that it's modular. You can actually plug in more solar panels or extra batteries if you want even more of a safety net. But this is where it gets really smart. The system knows its priorities. It has one mission: save the house. So yeah, it'll use grid power when it's available. If that fails, it instantly flips to its own battery. But then, and this is the genius part, if that battery starts to run low, it starts shedding weight. It intelligently shuts down anything else it might be powering, like a backup inverter for the house. It preserves every last little bit of energy for its single most important job: firefight. Okay, great. The power problem is solved. But what about actually controlling the thing? I mean, if the internet's down, maybe your home router got fried, how do you turn the sprinklers on? Well, that's where the system's next brilliant feature comes in: layers of redundancy. It makes sure you are never, ever locked out. And this is just awesome. Look at this. You have 4 completely separate ways to take control. Okay, method 1, the cloud. You can use an app from anywhere in the world as long as the internet is working. Method 2, if the internet goes down but your home Wi-Fi is still on, you can connect to it directly, right there on your local network. Method 3, what if your router's dead? No problem. The device creates its own Wi-Fi network. You just connect your phone straight to it. But what happens if all digital communication is gone? Well, then you have this. One big physical button. It's the ultimate failsafe. No network, no app, no password needed. You just walk up to the box and push the button. The system turns on. It's a beautiful recognition that in a real crisis, sometimes the simplest, most low-tech solution is the one you can count on. All right, so we've got reliable power, we've got foolproof control, but there's still one more piece of the puzzle that almost every other system just ignores. How do you actually know it's working? How do you know water is flowing? You can't just press a button and hope for the best. You need proof. And that proof comes from this little device, a flow sensor. It's a simple idea, but it's absolutely brilliant. See, it doesn't care if a valve is supposed to be open. It measures one thing and one thing only. Is water actually moving through the pipes? It gives you real-time, undeniable confirmation that the system is doing its job. I mean, the difference this makes is just night and day. Without one, you're flying blind. You're just asking yourself, did the valve open? Is the pump broken? Am I out of water? You have no idea. But with the flow sensor, the system knows. It can tell you, yep, water is flowing. Or, hey, the pump failed, you need to know this. It can even track your water usage. The bottom line is it swaps out pure guesswork for pure certainty, and it does it at the exact moment you need it most. So we've got this amazing, super resilient, really intelligent system. But you know, a brilliant invention isn't much good if nobody can afford it or if you need a team of engineers to install it. And that's where the final piece of this whole puzzle comes in, making it accessible to, well, everyone. So instead of needing some super expensive professional to come out, this whole thing is designed as a kit you can buy off the shelf. Everything. We're talking all the electronics, the valves, even the solar panel. It's all pre-assembled inside this one tough, weather-resistant box. It even uses quick connects, so you can hook it up with a regular garden hose, no tools needed. It basically turns this advanced, life-saving technology into a weekend DIY project. It's amazing. And there's even more packed into this thing. It's not just a dumb sprinkler, remember? It can target different zones independently, so the roof, the walls, the ground around the house. It runs its own diagnostic checks to make sure it's good to go before fire season hits. You can even have it apply a final coat of fire retardant, and a single main unit can control other little satellite units to protect things like a shed or a separate garage. It's really a complete, comprehensive guardian for your whole property. Look, this invention is just an incredible solution for a very real and very dangerous problem. But it also gets you thinking about the bigger picture, right? What we're looking at here is a system that's self-powered, self-sufficient, and has layers of fail-safes. So it kind of leaves you with this big question. As our world faces more extreme weather, more disasters, what other parts of our homes need to start thinking like this? What other critical systems, our power, our water, our communication, need to become this smart and this resilient?